Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation. My name is Preston Jones and my partner is Owens, and we are going to be telling you about the World of Warcraft. So the World of Warcraft was developed by Blizzard Entertainment, and it is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or MMORPG for short. It is played on the computer with Windows or Mac operating system, and is played from a third-person perspective in a 3D open world. The game is played through an individual character leveling system. So you create a character, and you have to choose which faction you want to represent, the Alliance or the Horde. You then pick a race that corresponds to your faction, and a class that is available to your race. You start off at level 1 with a handful of spells or abilities, and as you level up, the game will teach you how to play by slowly introducing more spells and abilities to you. The more your character levels up, the more content you can safely access. So zones have specific levels recommended for them, and if your character is under the recommended level, then you're going to have a hard time surviving in the zone. So the more levels you gain, the more spells and abilities you obtain, and the stronger your character becomes. And this allows you to explore the entire world of Warcraft. The spells that you get can be placed onto a UI component called an action bar, which is shown below. This action bar allows your spells to be out in the open for easy access. And the spells that you have on the action bar can be cast by clicking specific keys that correspond to the slots on the action bar. Your spells can also be cast by clicking the spells themselves directly. In the World of Warcraft, there is a talent and class specialization system implemented, and this allows you to differentiate yourself from other players who use the same class as you, and it allows you to change up your individual playstyle. So for the Mage class, there are three specializations, Arcane, Fire, and Frost. The Frost spec is rather stationary, while the Fire spec is pretty mobile, but the Arcane spec is somewhere in between. And these three different playstyles also affect enemies in different ways, such as Frost slows them, Fire does a lot of damage, and Arcane does a lot of damage over time. So the images you see here are the various zones that are in World of Warcraft. Each zone has a very specific theme and a very specific feel. These are just four examples of it, but anything in between that you can imagine is pretty much in the World of Warcraft. The story of World of Warcraft begins with the premise of the Alliance versus the Horde. So a Horde consists of the playable races including Orcs, Trolls, Tauren, the Forsaken, which are known as the Undead, the Blood Elves, and the Goblins. Whereas the Alliance consists of the Humans, the Gnomes, the Dwarves, Night Elves, the Draenei, and the Vorgen. Each side has their own stories, and there's neither a good nor an evil side in the game. Both sides have a mixture of good and evil elements. Each race that's available has a leader, but each faction has one overall ruler. So WoW originally started off with an orc named Thrall leading the Horde, and a human named Varian Wrynn leading the Alliance. But now, the war chief of the Horde is a troll named Vol'jin, and the king of the Alliance is still Varian Wrynn. Throughout each expansion that's implemented into WoW, there are turmoils within each faction, and various leaders of the races fight off against one another. An example of this was Sylvanas, leader of the Forsaken, or the Undead, versus the rest of the Horde. Or Cairn Bloodhoof fighting off against Garrosh Hellscream in a duel for the rightful seat of Warchief. But there are also times when the Alliance and the Horde have to come together and fight a common enemy, such as the Lich King. In present-day Azeroth, which is the world in which World of Warcraft takes place, the Iron Horde threatens to descend on modern-day Azeroth through a magical, dark portal, which transports them through time. The Alliance and the Horde have to put aside their differences and take on this new threat. So when a player's character reaches level 90, they are able to access Warlords of Draenor content. And this starts off with a cutscene that includes both factions storming the portal, led by former Warchief Thrall and Vindicator Murad. So now we're going to go through the basic UI of World of Warcraft, starting in the top left with our character portrait. You have your basic health and your mana underneath of your name. If I was to click on another character, let's say that guy jumping around, I can see his character portrait, level, faction, health, mana, and any buffs that he might have. So going down here, we have our chat box. Chat box is basically just your way of communicating with other players, with the world around you. You can do different things like emote. So if I was to say dash roar, my character will roar. Dash dance, basic things like that. You can also track certain types of chat, such as guild chat. So with this, I can communicate strictly with my guild, and I can see only what they've posted. I won't get flooded in with any of these general messages. At the bottom of our screen, we have our action bars, and as discussed earlier, those allow us to easily cast spells and abilities in a fight. It also lets us put on items such as my potion, And as you will see in the right side, there is a little tooltip that pops up for every spell. It also pops up for every character, and it just gives you basic information about those things. Along the bottom, underneath of this action bar, you have all of your basic UI elements. So if I was to open all of these, I have my character information, my spells, my specialization for my class, any achievements that I've gotten, and we also have the game menu. So in the game menu you can ask for help from the Blizzard team. You can go to the in-game shop, you can go to the system, change your settings for graphics, for sound, things like that. You can also go to the interface, and the interface will let you change things such as your name, so I can disable my green name over my head. I can change up my controls a bit, I can change up how I loot items, just various stuff like that. You can also change key bindings, which gets a little technical, a little crazy, but if you're into that kind of thing, you have the option. You have the option for macros, so you can actually write out various little script programs, and it'll cast spells in a specific order, or when certain events happen. And it's a very intuitive UI. You also have the option for add-ons, so you can have all of these things, and they will change your UI a bit. So DBM is a major add-on for boss fights. It will actually warn you on your screen with visual and vocal elements as to what's happening and when to dodge things. It's very useful. That and bigwigs. So in the top right we have our minimap, and our minimap allows us to zoom in on our character. Our character is represented by this little triangle, and the triangle will actually change directions based upon where our character is facing. And as you can see here, it also has little icons for things like the mailbox, for the innkeeper, and those can be tracked with the tracking function. So if I do this, I can actually disable those on my minimap. And I can track other things, such as the targets of quests, or maybe the flight master for a flight path to take me from one area to another, etc. In the top right, we have our calendar, and our calendar is useful for tracking events, such as the Valentine's event, which is just over this past week, or the Lunar Festival that is going on for another week and a half. And it also allows you to create events, to go on with a guild, to go out and raid, or just have a party, whatever. A new option on the UI is the garrison report, and the garrison report will show you all of the garrison missions that you're undergoing at a certain time. It also shows you all the resources that are being produced by your garrison. So in essence, it's like a iPhone game, like a mobile game. So you can go into your garrison, you do daily quests, and you just collect the rewards. So I just got one completed. If I went back to my garrison, I could receive the rewards from that. It also shows you what missions are currently available to you to complete, should you go back and do those. And it shows you all of the followers that you've got.
On this slide we have the main characters, and the main character is always your character, but there are a few other notable NPCs, which we'll see more in depth in the next slides. Here we have the Horde. On the Horde we have Vol'jin, who's the war chief of the Horde, and the leader of the Dark Spear Trolls. You can see him in the bottom right picture. Sylvanas Windrunner, who's High Lady of the Forsaken, or the Undead race. She's the former Ranger General of the High Elves until she was killed by Arthas and brought back to life as a Banshee. You can see her in the bottom left picture. Kieran Bloodhoof, who's the chieftain to the Tauren people. Prince Gallywix, who's the Troll Prince. Lord Thamar, who's the leader of the Blood Elves. And Thrall, who's one of the most important characters in World of Warcraft. He's a powerful orc shaman, former war chief of the Horde, and creator of it. He resigned from war chief in order to heal the world during the Cataclysm, and we can see him in the top right picture. Next we have the Alliance, and on the Alliance we have Varian Wrynn, who's the king of the Alliance, in the top right picture. Myrddin Bronzebeard, who's one of the 3 leaders of the dwarves, formerly thought killed by a Lich King as well. Tyrande and Malfurion, who are leaders of the Night Elves, and then we can see Malfurion in the bottom picture. He's one of the most powerful druids in the game. Genn Greymane, who was a king to his people, and until Sylvanas attacked and the Curse of the Worgen hit, and then he joined forces with the Alliance. Then we have Gelbin Mekatork, who's the leader of the Gnomes, and then Prophet Velen, who actually has a major role in the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. And this is it, Warlords of Draenor. And here is the video we first see when accessing Warlords of Draenor content.
This is our chance! Storm the portal!
that video, we had Thrall and Murad storming the portal, and Thrall was the orc on the left, who you see on the screen right now, and then Murad was the other one with the hammer. Warlords of Draenor setting takes place in Draenor, 35 years into the past, and there's 8 new zones to play: Nagrand, Frostfire Ridge, Talador, Spires of Arak, Shadowmoon Valley, Gorgrond, Tanan Jungle, and Ashran. And each zone has its own feel to it. It's really cool. And the main characters in this expansion are Duratan, who's the chieftain to the Frostwolf clan and the father of Thrall, Drekthar, who's a shaman of the Frostwolf clan and Thrall's tutor, Yrel, the Draenei paladin, you can see her in the top right, Murad, who's the paladin from the modern day Azeroth, and then Khadgar, who's the archmage and veteran of the Second War. Murad, Thrall, and Khadgar can all be seen in the bottom picture. Then we have Gromosh Hellscreen, who's chieftain of the Warsong clan in the top left. And then Blackhand, who's chieftain of the Blackrock clan. And the biggest changes in the expansion pack were definitely the garrisons, because instead of every other old expansion pack where they had one main city, the garrison's kind of like your main city, and it's for you specifically, and you can customize it however you want. And it's only accessible by you unless you're in a group with someone and they join your instance. But you start with a level 1 garrison, and you have the ability to raise up to a level 3 garrison. And each time you level up the garrison, you can add more buildings, and each building gives you a perk. And each building also has levels 1 through 3, and each time you level it up, you get something more, something better, something that helps you more. So in this bottom left picture, we have an Alliance garrison, and on the right, we see a Mage Tower. And the Mage Tower is level 3, and it has 3 portals in it, which allow you to just click a portal and teleport to any zone in Draenor. At a level 1 Mage Tower, you only have 1 portal, but now you have 3. So that's cool. And then on the top right, we have the Horde garrison, which is run just the same way, it just looks different. Very cool though. And then the new looking for group system, instead of just having a looking for group for a dungeon or looking for a raid, you can actually use a looking for group thing and type in what you're looking for, what you're trying to do. If you want to do quests in one zone and someone else wants to too, they'll join up with you. Or if you want to go in a PvP group or do a dungeon on normal difficulty instead of raid finder. And then there's also grinding reputations to earn exalted status. So it's a lot helpful, and you can even do past content with it. And then for the PvP and PvE changes, we have Ashran, which is it's an island off to the right a little bit, and it has 2 bases, one for the Horde, one for the Alliance. And I guess if anything else was going to be a main city, it would be Ashran, kind of. And then in between the Alliance city and the Horde city is a huge PvP battleground where players just walk in, and then they wait for a queue, then when it's ready, they go in, and then it's chaos. It really is, but it's fun. And then right now, what's accessible for the PvE or player versus environment content is High Mall and Blackrock Foundry. And High Mall is kind of the fortress for these ogres, and you go and you kill their king pretty much. And then Blackrock Foundry, as you go through this Blackrock Fortress, and then the last boss is Blackhand, who I mentioned earlier. And then so those are what's going on right now. And then hopefully soon we'll have a Gromosh raid, who I think will be the last boss we fight in this expansion pack. So that's Warlords of Draenor. It's pretty cool. Thank you.
Because garrisons are the biggest addition to World of Warcraft with Warlords of Draenor expansion, I'm going to give you guys a brief look through my garrison. So my garrison is level 3, my character is level 100, which is the requirement to get the level 3 garrison. Over here to our left we have our pet menagerie. So all of the battle pets that are in World of Warcraft can be used here. There's little daily quests where I have to battle other pets. It's actually pretty tough. I'm waiting for them to nerf it just a little bit before I go in and actually do more battle pet stuff. There's just general camps around the base with vendors that you can buy from. Garrison resources are how you buy and sell in your garrison. So you can go to a trading post, which I have over here, and you can actually use the garrison resources to buy other resources that you can get in the world. So I can deposit world resources, which change daily, to get garrison resources, and then I can use the garrison resources to buy the world resources. So I don't have mining, so if I find that black rock ore or true iron ore are on sale, I can just buy them for garrison resources. So it's really handy, it's really useful. The trading post also provides a boost for all reputation gains. So in World of Warcraft, you have reputations with various factions and various races, and by getting exalted with them, you get certain bonuses. So looking at my garrison, we came in over here. You have the main building, you have your little garden in the back, fishing post over here on the left, garden here, and your mines are here. So if I just run back here, I have my own little pond and my own little fishing shack that I can use. And so after leveling all these individual buildings up to level 3, you get the max rewards, and I can fish here, I can get my herbs here, all sorts of stuff. And for every resource gathering area, you can deposit certain resources in order to get other resources. So for herbalism, there's seeds, and you deposit the seeds to get the flowers. And for mining, there are certain rocks that you can deposit to pick up other ores. And so inside your garrison, you have a certain number of plots. At level 3, you can have 3 small plots, 2 medium, and 2 large. And everything is done from within your garrison. So if I want to change my plots, I go to this guy and I just click on the board and I can change it. And you can also move them around, do whatever you want. You can demolish them, build new. But I like my current setup, so I'm just going to leave it the way that it is. You can also assign followers to your buildings if you have one available. I currently do not. And that will actually boost the gains that you get from them, all of these little resources. And here at the war table, the command table, I can complete my missions. So I have an add-on that actually lets me automate this process a little bit. Normally it shows like a little fight and animation, and then it gives you your stuff. And I can actually assign followers to missions, and depending on the percent success, I can get some pretty interesting rewards, like bonus experience for my follower. So followers start out at level 90, you level them up to level 100, and they get various skills to combat different challenges. And literally this could be made into a phone app, but Blizz, for whatever reason, does not want to. And I can also send followers on missions to get garrison resources, which is very useful. So after having done that, if you do archaeology, you can actually put pieces on display. So here is a headdress that I completed, Erico headdress. There's a little stone tablet, and I haven't really done archaeology. It's not really that great, but it's cool that they have that here. And so out here, I actually have people walking around. All my followers walk around in my garrison. I can go up and I can talk to them. So here's Favre. I can have her patrol with me. There's also garrison invasions. So I don't currently have one, but a little guy will come up here and tell me that I have an invasion ready. And invasions happen naturally as you kill enemies in the world. After you kill like 500 of a specific type of enemy, they will actually have their clan invade your base, which is pretty cool. They just pour in from all of the entrances, and you have to defend your buildings and your people. And then there's a boss at the end and chance for loot, and it's pretty solid. It's pretty cool. In the new patch that's coming out, they're actually going to implement special world bosses that you can summon in here and take them down with some of your friends. So pretty cool stuff. And we're also supposedly going to be able to change the music that plays in the background. I currently have the music off for the recording, but there's a solid soundtrack with Warlords of Draenor. And it would just be very cool to have that further customization option in my base. So I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see how the rest of this turns out.